Welcome back, Junior. Got another episode down. I moved the refined storage up here because the sounds downstairs can be a bit noisy. We still left our drawer storage here. I've moved the smeltery against the wall. We have quite a few of them, and I'll explain why I've duplicated this so many times. And then also on this side, created one here as well. This is for us mixing alloys together, ingots together to make new ingots. We'll do that in a later episode. I've run a leadstone flux duct, or what are these called? Leadstone flux ducts. Ran a line over here. That's part of the project that we're going to be working on today. And got a few more things. Now I've got these storage crates to act as project chests, and some of these we might get into later. We will see. But first and foremost, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to set up something that will help us with resource generation. So let's get this. Tell you what, let's grab crafting station from my backpack. I'm going to set it down here. That way it's able to see all of this. First thing what we're going to work on actually is, let's move it to next to this one actually. Take a look. No. We'll work on this one. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this stuff here and we're gonna build ourselves. I don't know if it's the other way around. Yep. So rotate grid. We got ourselves an Atomic Reconstructor. And speaking of quests, actually, we completed a few quests here. We get a quantified key here. When we made the compacting drawer and the drawer controller, we're able to get the status upgrade 2 as a reward. And then in refined storage, we made cables, so we get 3 more of those, 52. And then we also, let's see, under miscellaneous quests, we got ourselves an instrument, we got a trumpet, we got a few of those. We had a creeper explode in one of our claimed chunks, so we can get a morb. With a creeper inside. I'm not going to use that. And then we also made a couple elevators. That'll gift us with 1 more elevator. So if we need another one, we'll be able to use that. Now under technology, beginner, we created the Atomic Reconstructor, which is right here. Got no rewards. Now it also wants us to make an auto breaker, and later on we'll do an auto placer, and I'll show you why we want those as well. So we need a void crystal, a basic coil with some cobblestone around it. A void crystal, you can get it using the Atomic Reconstructor. So So you put coal in front of the Atomic Reconstructor, you can get yourself a void crystal. So let's grab one of those. Let's put this quantify key away. And we'll put the morb and the trumpet over here. And let's just stick some of this stuff here. There we go. Let's lay down the Atomic Reconstructor here, where the stone flux duct is. Put it right here. So once it fills up with RF, it will shoot a laser like that. Now you can actually right click it with a redstone torch to change the mode. And what we'll do is we'll also make, where my planks go, we'll also make a pressure plate. So what we're gonna do is gonna head downstairs. We're gonna right click on this, where you see redstone mode is a deactivation. Once you right click on it, it'll change to pulse. So I don't want the RF to be used every single time. Pulse means that if you've got something that creates a redstone signal, like this pressure plate, it will activate that. Now, this thing has taken up all our coal, so now we're starting to use charcoal. But let me grab one here. Let me show you how this setup works. If we drop a piece of coal on the pressure plate, it'll activate it, and there you go. Changed it to a void crystal. So, going back, an auto breaker. We need a void crystal, we got that. Now we need a basic coil. We have black quartz. Now we need Restonia crystal. Restonia crystal you can make with redstone on the Atomic Reconstructor. So we need 4 of those. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. We'll just drop it on that pressure plate too. And we got our 4 Redstonia crystals. And then we just need a, let's see, black quartz, which is in our system. Right here. Go ahead and craft it while we're here. There we go. Basic coil. Now this with one more cobblestone. And there is the auto breaker. No rewards there, but then we also want an auto placer. So same thing with cobblestone, and then now we need a payless crystal, which is, I believe, lapis, on the Atomic Reconstructor. Now let's see if we got lapis. We do not. All right, well, I'm gonna go mine some lapis. I'm gonna go downstairs to the mines, and I'll bring you right back. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to continue with crafting the block. I forgot which one it was. Let's see. The block placer. So we got a payless crystal already, or a lapis anyway. Now we're gonna drop it on top of this pressure plate, turn it into that stainless crystal. We need 4 more of the lapis to drop to make that coil. There. We also need black quartz. There we are. So, black quartz. Got a basic coil. That payless crystal. And 7 cobblestone will get us the auto placer. There we go. Now with this, we'll be able to do something with that one now. We also want to do this. So let's look at a quest book first. Auto placer, we don't get any rewards. We also want to do a lens. We have a lens that's called Lens of the Miner. And what that does is if you place this on the Atomic Reconstructor and put it, have it shoot the laser on a piece of stone, it will turn it into an ore of any of these types of resources. So that's exactly what we want to generate resources. So it wants a lens with this recipe. And then in the middle here, we'll place our lens. Emeralds down here, I believe. Diamonds there. Gold and iron next to the diamond. Lapis, black quartz, coal, and switch that up. Nope. Got something wrong. Here we are. Switched up to nether quartz here. Here we are. Now we can put this lens of the miner. There we go. Now, I don't think it works. So we'll take 1 stone here. I don't think it works by dropping it on there. See? So what you'll have to do is get rid of that. Let's get a lever just to kind of demonstrate. Stick cobblestone. We'll place it here, and then if you actually place it, right click on it and place it in front of it, and then activate it, it will change it into a random ore. And that's what we want. So the block placer will actually help us with that, and then also the block breaker. So placer and breaker. Let's see. Breaker. And then placer. So this is the inventory of the placer. This is where you put the blocks that you want it to place. And it will place it where this symbol is looking at. So if I put stone in the inventory of the placer, it will put it here. Then the breaker will break it, and then it will put it in this inventory here. So look at our options as far as the redstone here. We got a pulse and a deactivation. So what's gonna happen is if we do pulse, it's gonna wait on a redstone signal for it to place and then for it to break. So what I'm thinking is, I'll think about this and I'll bring you guys back. All right, welcome back. I've pretty much figured this out. I created a standard vanilla redstone clock here, and that will automatically activate these redstone signals. This observer will activate this to place the stone. This redstone signal here will activate our Atomic Reconstructor. And then this one here, this one's a little longer because I want to cause a bit of a delay, will activate the auto breaker. There is a atom duct down there below the auto breaker that will feed it into this storage crate. That'll prevent this from getting full. And then from the storage crate, also put atom ducts that will lead to our furnaces. These will only accept the blackstone quartz ore and the cobblestone to turn it back into stone. And then it will smelt all these. Then we'll actually go down. We do have another atom duct here that will only accept redstone, coal, and we'll put stone up there, and that'll cause a loop. But anyway, continuing on, all whatever's left will be placed in here. Now I do have to figure out what I need to do in regards to the diamonds, because diamonds and emeralds are a possibility with the redstone or the Atomic Reconstructor. Then from here, I also attached a cable, ran a cable all the way down, and you'll be able to see the cable down there. Cable all the way down to accept to an exporter that will only export stone into the auto placer, and it will create a loop from here. Now before I activate this, because it is pretty loud, I might have to construct a muffler in mob grinding utilities mod that will maybe silence that area there. So the only bottleneck we have will be power. Our power is actually pretty good. We're not using much of it. And generating resource, I would rather use up all our power to generate some resource from there. Now I do have to put a couple of servos in the under the furnaces, and that'll just extract everything from there to go into our system. One, then go, and that should take everything from there. There we go. Takes a bit to activate, I guess. Should do all that. We need to figure out what I need to do with quartz. Now to activate this, I just need to get a piece of redstone here and just complete our circuit here. And as you can see, most of the time cobblestone will be broken, but we do have some ores that are being generated, and they should be being fed to our ore chest there. Ore chest also have some item ducts that will basically deliver the ores into these furnaces. I've used filters in these furnaces, and only that ore will go into these furnaces. There we go. Automated resource generation. And then we'll kind of look at this for a bit, make sure that's not getting filled up, and we'll move on to the next project. This Atomic Reconstructor was pretty power hungry, and our current setup is not able to sustain this this setup to run indefinitely. So we're gonna look for alternatives to that. In addition, we're also going to see if we can increase our power generation a bit more compared to this setup. But first things first, I want to kind of get started on getting these ores processed so we can stock up on the materials that we do need to craft the solutions for this. So what I want to do is to get this the furnace setup started, and then we'll go from there. So one of the things that we can do to make that easier for us is to craft some of these items here. The items that I want to craft first and foremost is the ender tank. So we're gonna go over here and let's go ahead and craft a couple of those. As you can see, I have materials for 2 of them. And actually, we go into our quest book. I believe it's here. Or is it under basic storage? There it is. As a reward, we get 1 more. Now, how this works is with anything ender, for example, these tanks, anything that you put in here will share the inventory between the similarly marked tanks. And what I mean by that is, if you notice these 3 white markers on top, the tanks that have the same color markings will share inventory. So if I put lava here, this will also have lava. And so what that means for us is that I can take this one with me, leave this one here near our tanks to distribute our lava. And while I'm putting lava here, this will also get filled with lava and gets distributed in those tanks over there. So we've got 3 of those now. All right. Additionally, we also have, where's my crafting station? Here. We also have tools, or the items to craft an ender chest. And it has the same principles as the ender tank. If you pair it with another ender chest would have the same color markings, it will share the same inventory, so I can actually start putting ores and all the different items in the ender tank or ender chest here. And we can set another ender chest either connected to here or here, and they will get processed without having to go back and forth. I believe in our quest book, since we crafted that, we get another one. Yep. And we also have same principle here with a bag of holding. So bag of holding or ender pouch. It functions as a backpack, but is also the same principle as the ender tank. And so we can actually separate ores, and then here will be items and gets distributed accordingly. So in our quest book, no rewards there. So what we'll have to do is we can actually link this to an ender chest. So in this case, since we have the same markings for the ender pouch and the ender chest, we don't need to sneak click on it. But if we could say it has blue, white, white, you can use the ender pouch, sneak right click on the ender pouch, and that will set the colors for the ender pouch. That links it to this ender chest. Alright, let me check to see if I've hooked up these tanks already. It's like I haven't. So I'm going to work on linking up the tanks with the pipes, and so once they're hooked up, we'll be able to grab some lava and we'll get the process started in taking care of these ores. I'll bring you right back once I'm ready to get some lava. All right, welcome back. So what I've done is I've connected all these tanks in the bank with a hardened fluid duct that will enable us to move lava from the lava that we put in this tank and distribute it amongst all the other tanks. And then I also set up a ender chest here with a servo that will run through this channel, put in any items that is in our drawer network, and any ores will be placed into this ore chest here. So for now, we're gonna hunt some lava down, gonna fill up our ender tank, and I'll bring you back once that's done. All right, I'll bring you back for a bit here. So you notice the more I load lava in here, it gets distributed to our tanks up there, being fed by the other ender tank that it's hooked up to. All right, let me make sure that they all have the lava that they need to start processing the ores. All right, looks like our ender tank is full. Go ahead and collect it. Let me open up more of this area here. And as a bonus, we got this. Let me make sure I've got this lit up. Alright, let's open up this area a bit more. So when the time comes, it'll be easier for us to grab more lava. Might as well go ahead and grab this lead. And light this up. Alright, now we can go back. The ender tank being full basically means to me that all the tanks on the furnaces are all full. They all have their lavas. And from there, just want to set it up where they're processing the ores automatically. There we go. And these have servos underneath. Not servos, but filters underneath that only lets them accept one type of ore. In this case, this one's gold. This one's copper, lead, aluminum, tin, cobalt, silver, nickel, ardite, and I've disconnected that. We don't have other ores until we actually get more. I'll hook it up and I'll set it up the same way as these. Now, the only thing that we're missing are these molds here for the casting tables. Looks like we're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 more. So I'm over here in my smeltery that's got gold. I've already got a brick here set up and have a few more. So to make the mold, I'm just gonna right click on this faucet here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. It will create the cast. There we go. And we'll do that a few more times. Once I have a cast for everything, I'll bring you back. Alright, welcome back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cast this to make an ingot. Now, as you notice, I got a servo, but it still stays here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the end product, go to the servo. We're only going to whitelist the iron ingot. So now when we turn this on, it will only take the iron ingot. Nope. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to change this up. I might have to do a hopper instead of a servo on here. But anyway, what we want to do is take it automatically from the casting table, feed it back to our drawer controller, which will file it away in the appropriate drawer for that ingot. So let me work on automating that and I'll bring you right back. All right, welcome back. Now to show you what I did, I've changed the connection to the casting tables with hoppers and connected to the item ducts with the servos. Because we have the lever here to activate the faucet, once the casting table is clear, the servo acts too slow to pull the item out of the casting table, and it throws off the signal. And so we're using the hopper to instantly take out the item out of the casting table, putting it in its buffer, and then from there the servo will pull it from the hopper. Now I've ran a line from the casting tables for all these smelteries, and I ran it through here, and I've connected it to a controller slave, which is still part of our network. It will accept all of those ingots and will place it accordingly to within our drawer network. All right, so that will automate things, and then from there we'll be able to craft pretty easily. The only thing about these is that from time to time we'll have to kind of babysit them whenever we're a bit too far from the area. All right. There's no cobalt in here. Yep, there is. We'll go ahead and reactivate those. And let me just make sure that they are chunk loaded, and they are not. So we'll claim that, and then we'll also make sure they're chunk loaded. So when we do go a bit too far from here, they will still keep going. All right, and this is at the moment the cheapest way for us to automate this process. There are machines later on that will help us take care of this, but right now, with our power infrastructure kind of low, I want to just do it manually, and we'll upgrade in later episodes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at starting a new, or getting into a new mod, and I'll set up the materials, and I'll bring you right back once I'm ready. All right, welcome back. So the mod that we're going to get into is called Industrial Forgoing. Now, to make the manual for it, we just need this piece of paper and piece of wood. And from there, we'll get the manual. Now, with the manual, this will tell you all of how the machines work. In this case, what we want to work towards is getting plastic. So for the plastic, we need to get a tree fluid extractor and a latex processing unit. And of course, it needs power. So now to craft that, we're going to craft 3 latex processing units here. Looks like we're missing 1 redstone. We'll go ahead and grab all this stuff here, and we'll go ahead and get it crafted. And I'll show you why we're going to need 3 here in a bit. And also the latex processing unit. Let's go ahead and craft that while we're here. A machine case in the middle, iron gear, 4 irons in the corner, 2 furnaces on each side of the machine case, and a redstone on top. We get you the latex processing unit. Let's go ahead and hook it up to our power network here. yeah, we'll ignore that for now. Let's pull out our leadstone flux ducts here. I just want to run a little line here, so the fluid extractors are tree fluid extractors. We're going to set up like this. Yep. So that way these three can surround an acacia wood or any type of wood really. Now what you'll see is that these will have different values based on the type of wood that you put in front of it. Acacia averages 4,800 megabuckets or millibuckets of latex, whereas the other ones will produce a little bit lower amounts. And honestly, for what we're going for, we're only going to need a small amount of latex or plastic as the end goal. And so we're going to use acacia. This is the acacia that we picked up on our way to our current location. Now you can see some cracks are starting to form on the acacia. What happens is that these tree fluid extractors, they collect the latex. So you can see it's collecting them here. And these don't need any power. But what they're going to do is eventually this piece of wood will break. And so we're going to need to place another piece of acacia here in the middle. To solve that, we'll go ahead and grab this block placer here. Since, yeah, we'll reconfigure that setup later. And it does remember the acacia having some damage on it. And so once that disappears, we'll put another one in here in its place. You can see we're collecting the latex from this acacia. And what we'll do is, where's our fluid ducts here? And we only need just regular fluid ducts. We will filter those into this latex processing unit, which will need RF or power. So we're going to get up here. Looks like it needs water as well, but what we'll do is get some servos here. And the regular ones will be fine. Yep. Now it's filling up here. We're getting our water here, or our power here. Now we just need to supply it with water. So we got some water down here. We just need to hook it up. Let me work on that and I'll bring you right back. Alright, welcome back. So now I've hooked up the water that we have down here from our aqueous accumulator. Now it's feeding this some water, and we're getting tiny dry rubber here. Now what to do with these? What you want to do is we go down here to our crafting table, put it in the grid here like this. We'll create dry rubber, and with the dry rubber you can smelt this into plastic. So what I want to do is actually take it out of this machine, and we'll just put it in a chest. I'm going to go ahead and pop this dry rubber in here. Atom duct, and we don't need a hardened servo. Just a regular servo will be fine. So, and we're just gonna wipe this shiny dry rubber. Nope. There we go. That'll give us power, allowing us to make more tiny dry rubber. And then let that run for a bit. Check on this. There's the first piece of plastic. Alright. So, oh, we get a free auto placer actually here. So that's fine. Now it's asking us to make the resourceful furnace. So this one uses power to smelt, and using that plastic, and we're going to need 4 of them, we can make this resourceful furnace. But we're wanting to get into is this petrified fuel generator. The fuel generator generates RF by burning any furnace fuel. 1 coal generates 60,000 RF, while this here, and these are upgraded, so this is a hardened version. They produce 60,000 on a piece of coal as well. Now the good thing about that is the petrified fuel generator is that it does take a block blocks of coal, and I believe it does take 3 inputs, but we'll figure it out when we craft it. So you see here, 80 RF per tick for coal in the petrified fuel generator. Whereas with the dynamos, it just says 1 coal makes 24,000 RF. Whereas this one is 80 RF per tick. But if you look at a charcoal block, this one creates RF per tick, and so it's actually 9 pieces of charcoal will create a block. Each piece of charcoal will get us, I believe, 80 as well. So with the block of charcoal, we technically get an additional piece of charcoal to generate 800 RF per tick. So this block equates to 10 pieces of charcoal using 9. So now what we want to look at is fluid pump there. I think using this resourceful furnace, we're able to smelt wood into charcoal. So it's basically the same recipes as a regular furnace. So we have plenty of wood upstairs. Let me take a look here, show you. We have in this drawer 2047 pieces of wood or logs. And then we also have our 9 hopping bonsais here, generating a bunch of wood, a bunch of wood here, and then I believe these hoppers are pretty full as well. And this one is pretty full. We're gonna do something about these apples, sticks, and leaves. That'll help generate a bit more power for us. And what we'll do is we'll actually set up a power generation room, I believe next episode, and so we can get into more of the resource generation or power generation, and then from there we'll also get into power resource generation using another one of the mods called Botania. Now let me take a look here if our setup is working. Tin is up, lead is up. We got plenty of iron. These are just getting full. Like I said, we'll do something about this where we don't have to babysit these, and it'll basically automate everything for us. Now, the reason right now I'm using the smeltery is because for every ore that you put in here, you get 2 ingots, whereas if you smelt the ores directly, you'll only get 1 to 1, whereas the smeltery you get 1 to 2. Now there will be other machines that will help us do that. We'll get 2 dusts per ore, and then we can smelt those 4 ingots. And we'll get into that. We just have to focus on generating enough power for using those machines. All right, so that does it for this episode. I think we've done enough. Like I said, next episode we're going to work on power generation a little bit more, and we'll see if we can get into resource generation using Botania. All right, well, like I said on my post, I apologize that I haven't been uploading in a couple weeks. It's been a busy couple weeks, but look forward to more episodes coming up soon. Trying to get back into my regular upload schedule of shorts Sunday and Wednesday, and then the long form videos on Monday and Friday. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.